9-year-old tried to sell her late father's guitar for $100. What Ozzy Osbourne did next. The pawn shop was nearly empty that morning. Dust floated lazily in the sunlight that streamed through the window, and the faint hum of a guitar riff played from an old radio behind the counter. The bell above the door jingled softly as a small figure stepped in. A little girl, no older than 9, clutching a worn guitar case almost as big as she was. Her hair was tied in uneven pigtails, and her sneakers were scuffed, but her eyes held a kind of quiet determination that seemed far too old for her age. The shopkeeper looked up. "Hey there, kiddo. Can I help you?" The girl nodded and set the guitar case carefully on the counter. "I want to sell this," she said softly. Her voice wavered, but her grip on the handle didn't. The man raised an eyebrow and opened the case. Inside was an old, beautiful acoustic guitar. The wood faded, the strings slightly rusted, but it was clear this instrument had been loved deeply. "Where'd you get this?" he asked. "It was my dad's," she whispered. He died last year." The man froze for a moment, his face softening. "I'm sorry, kid." She nodded, brushing away a tear quickly. "I just need $100. I want to help my mom. She's behind on rent. Please." The shopkeeper sighed. "This guitar, it's worth a lot more than 100. But I can't buy it without your mom's permission." The girl bit her lip, her small shoulders trembling. "She doesn't know I'm here," she admitted. "But we need the money. Please, sir." Just then, the bell jingled again, this time louder. A man in dark sunglasses and a long black coat stepped inside, his presence filling the room instantly. The shopkeeper's eyes widened. "Oh my God," he whispered. "Ozzy Osbourne." The rock legend gave a small grin. "Just looking around, mate," he said in his thick accent. But his attention quickly fell on the little girl standing by the counter, wiping her tears. Ozzy walked over and crouched beside her. "Hey, love," he said gently. "What's your name?" "Lily," she murmured. "And what are you doing selling that old guitar, eh?" She hesitated, then told him everything. How her dad used to play that guitar every night before bed, singing her to sleep with songs he wrote just for her. How he dreamed of teaching her to play, but then got sick. How, since he'd passed, her mom worked 2 jobs and barely smiled anymore. "I just thought, maybe if I sold it, I could help her a little," Lily finished quietly. Ozzy was silent for a moment. Then he gently lifted the guitar from its case and strummed a chord. The sound, though faint and imperfect, carried something haunting, something pure. He smiled sadly. "Your dad must have been a good man," he said softly. "He was," Lily said. "He said music could fix anything." Ozzy nodded, his eyes misting. "Smart man." After a long pause, Ozzy stood up and turned to the shopkeeper. "You're not buying this guitar," he said firmly. Then he reached into his coat pocket, pulled out his wallet, and handed the man a wad of cash. "Here's your $100, kid." Lily's eyes widened. "Really? Thank you, sir." But Ozzy wasn't done. He handed the guitar back to her. "And this guitar, belongs to you. Don't ever sell it. Your dad gave you something worth more than money." Lily looked confused. "But then what do I do?" Ozzy smiled. "You learn to play. You learn to make people feel what he made you feel." The shopkeeper stood speechless as Ozzy knelt down again, looking Lily straight in the eyes. "How about this? Next week, you come to my studio. I'll teach you a few chords myself." Lily blinked in disbelief. You mean it?" Ozzy grinned. "Cross my heart, love. You and me, will make your dad proud." Word spread quickly, and soon reporters caught wind of the story. Pictures of the rock legend with the tiny girl and her father's old guitar made headlines around the world. But what they didn't see was what came after. For months, Ozzy kept his promise. Every week, he invited Lily to his studio, teaching her the basics of guitar, how to hold it, how to strum, how to feel every note. At first, she was shy, barely speaking. But slowly, the music brought her back to life. Her fingers began to dance on the strings, her small voice finding courage in melodies that echoed her father's songs. Ozzy became like a mentor, even a grandfather figure. He didn't just teach her chords, he taught her heart. He once told her, "Music isn't about being perfect, Lily. It's about being real. Every mistake has a soul if it comes from love." Years passed, and that little girl who once stood in a pawn shop with tears in her eyes grew into a young woman with a guitar in her hands and fire in her spirit. On her 18th birthday, she stood on stage for the first time, performing her own song dedicated to her father, and to the man who had believed in her when she was just a grieving child trying to sell her past. Ozzy sat in the front row, smiling proudly. The lyrics she sang that night brought the audience to tears. You taught me that music can heal what life breaks, that love lives on in every note we make. When the final chord faded, the crowd erupted in applause. Ozzy stood, clapping with tears in his eyes. As Lily walked off the stage, she ran straight to him. "I did it, Ozzy," she whispered, hugging him tightly. He smiled. "No, love, you did what your dad knew you could. I just helped you remember it." Sparkle's inspiring message. Sometimes, life takes away what we love most, but it also brings the people who help us find it again. What Lily thought she was selling for $100 turned into something priceless, a legacy of music, love, and hope that would live forever. And it all began with a small act of kindness from someone who remembered what it meant to be lost and to be found through the power of music.